If you're looking to make 4 to 5 figures a month with an online business this year, print on demand probably is still your best bet. Now, I have been a print on demand seller for going on 5 years now, and over that time, I have grown this from just a side hustle, making a few $100s every single month, to a full-time income. And even in 2025, there is still so much room in the market for people to build a shop and actually grow this to where they can be making a substantial amount of profit every single month. And the best thing is it is very, very low cost to start, and you really don't need a lot of tools outside of a laptop and an internet connection. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you the entire process of how you could start your very own print-on-demand business selling t-shirts on a platform like Etsy. T-shirts continue to be one of the most sought-after items that people are looking to buy for themselves, for other people, for gifts. So this is a really great product to kind of master and start your print-on-demand business with, but there are also tons of other products that you could sell in a print-on-demand shop. Now, this tutorial is going to be pretty extensive, walking you through everything from picking out the products you're going to sell, setting them up on your platform, finding a really good niche that actually is going to be able to make sales, creating your designs, listing them to Etsy, and actually writing all the SEO so that you can get found and start making sales. There's not going to be a lot of fluff in this tutorial, so we're just going to dive right in to finding what types of products we are going to be trying to sell today. Now, one of the very first things that is super important to understand when you are trying to sell print on demand is finding a good niche. And the niche just has to do with the type of items that you're going to sell. So for example, a shirt that has something like World's Best Mom on it, that would be targeting the mom niche. Or something that said, I love my golden doodle, that is targeting the golden doodle niche. So really any product you sell out there is going to be appealing to some kind of demographic, some kind of niche. But every niche is not created equal in this business. To be a successful print-on-demand seller and to actually be able to make sales, you need to be able to pinpoint niches that have low enough competition but enough demand that people are actually looking for them. And this is where a lot of people get really stuck and frustrated in this business. They feel like they're making tons of great designs but not getting any traction, and a lot of times it comes down to they are just trying to target things that are way too saturated. So we are going to start off with one of the most important things, and that is using some kind of research method or research tool. Now, there are many of them on the market out there, some free, some paid, but the one that I have pretty much used from the beginning is actually called Merch Informer. Now, what Merch Informer is it basically is a tool that takes all of the information from the merchandise sales on Amazon, and it's going to present it to you in a really easy to understand way so you can see what types of t-shirts are really selling well on Amazon right now. Now, we are going to be selling on Etsy, but since Amazon is pretty much the biggest e-commerce platform out there, if t-shirt niches are doing well on Amazon, that pretty much means that they are also going to be able to sell well on a site like Etsy. So let's just dive in, and I'm going to show you how I use this almost every single time I go to create a new product. So on Merch Informer, there are quite a few different tools. We're going to be focusing on two specific aspects today. And the first one is under the product research category, and it is called movers and shakers. Now, what the movers and shakers category shows us is what items have recently really taken off in sales. So anywhere there is a drastic drop in this graph right here, that means that tons of people have started buying this item, meaning that it's ranked really, really highly in the Amazon algorithm. So what we can do is kind of scroll through some of these pages and take note of some of the niches we are seeing that we could potentially also tap into. Now, what you'll find as a print-on-demand seller is oftentimes anything that people are very passionate about. So things like hobbies, careers, their pets, their kids, they want to spend money on and they want to show off. So for example, this dance teacher shirt has recently really taken off in sales, which kind of clues us into not only the niche of dance teacher is doing well, but just professions in general. It can be a really good thing to target. Also, like I said, people are passionate about their cats. We can see here that Tuxedo Cat Mama, this type of shirt really took off in sales. And what I like about this is they didn't just make it a generic cat mom shirt, which probably would have way too much competition, but they really niched down and they went for the more specific breed or type of cat tuxedo cap. Now, this is another example of a great pet shirt that's a little bit more specific than just a generic cat or mom t-shirt. And this says, I was normal 2 chinchillas ago. It has that really sarcastic style that a lot of print-on-demand items do that sells really, really well. So this could be something good to target as well. Now, another really important thing to think about while we are looking for a good niche to target is the time of year we want to be making items for. So right now it's kind of smack dab in the middle of summertime, but as a print-on-demand seller, you typically want to be working at least 2 months out. So we probably want to be designing items for August and even September just to give our products enough time to rank and people enough time to buy them before specific time periods. So coming up in the fall, we definitely have things like back to school. So anything that kind of targets students or some kind of teachers could be a really good idea. So we can definitely see if there's anything like that in here that we could maybe do our own spin on. So here's another trending shirt. It said, all the cool kids are reading, today a reader, tomorrow a leader. And I really like that it's showing us that this is trending because on the surface, I really don't think this is a super amazing design. We could definitely take something like this and make a way better version of it. But we know that shirts about reading or being a student are already selling really well right now. So this could be a great thing to target, especially like I said, with that back to school coming up. All right, so after scrolling for a second, there is one specific niche that has really caught my eye, and it's this ESL teacher shirt. Now, like I said, back to school is coming up, but we definitely don't want to be targeting something super generic, just like a general teacher. That's going to be way too hard to compete in. But if we can get a little bit more specific with the profession or the type of teacher, that is where the gold mine is. And I think that we definitely could take the concept of ESL teacher and do something way different than this design here. So I never want to be copying exactly what someone else is doing. I always put my own spin on it, but I'm going to use this information to start thinking that this niche could potentially be a really good one. But just to validate that this is a good niche to pursue, that there is not a ton of competition, we are actually going to check this in a couple of places. So we're going to go over here to the left-hand side where it says competition checker. And I'm going to kind of show you the difference between a good niche and a really bad niche that is just way too saturated. So this tool is going to give us a score between A and F, depending on how good this niche is for us to pursue. So first of all, let's just look up teacher and see what kind of ranking that would have if we just made a generic teacher shirt. All right, so after thinking for a second, it gave teacher shirts a score of F because there are so many products online all about teachers. So even though this is a popular niche that people are looking to buy, it's just too hard to compete in. But what if we change this to ESL? Now that gave us a much better ranking of a B. So typically, I only like to go for niches that are either ranked A or B because that means there is not a ton of competition. So what we see here is total products online. There are around 400 products, and products with a bestseller rank, there's around 200. So that means that around 200 different ESL items have actually made sales, which means that about half of the items posted in this ESL niche are actually having people go through and purchase them. So this is a really, really good niche for us to pursue. So one other place that we could check this is actually going to Amazon itself. So if I were to look up teacher shirt on Amazon, what I can right away see is there are over 50,000 different results here. This is a very popular niche, but it's just going to be way too hard for us to compete. Now, if I change this to be ESL teacher shirt, we can see how much different the listing amount is going to be. So on Amazon, there's only about 502 results for ESL teacher shirts. So right away, that keys me in that this is a great niche for us to pursue and one that we could potentially make a lot of sales in. So now that we've secured our niche, we can start the really fun part, which is actually making the designs. Now, I know designing can be very intimidating if you're not super comfortable with using a design suite, with putting things together, but that's why I'm going to share with you another tool that is super, super easy to use, even if you've never made a t-shirt or mug design before in your life. And that is called Kittl. So Kittl is kind of a design platform that was specifically made with print-on-demand sellers in mind. And one of the things that I love about them is they not only let you make a bunch of projects from scratch, just kind of with a blank canvas, but they also have thousands of different t-shirt templates that you can kind of just plug and play, just drag and drop different elements or change out some text, change colors, and you pretty much have a design that is ready to go that you didn't have to do all the legwork for. So even though I've been doing this business for quite a few years, I still very often like to use templates just because it makes the design process so much easier and I can get way more products out this way. And they just right away look very, very professional. So one of the things that I do whenever I am designing a product on Kittl, especially if it's in a particular niche, is I'm just going to see what kind of templates they have that would fit with this. So for this ESL niche that we are doing, any designs that are geared towards teachers are still going to work really, really well. So I'm just going to look in this template section here for teacher and see if there's any really cute designs that we could kind of put a more specific ESL twist on. All right, so right away, there are some really, really cute designs. So even something simple like this in this kind of groovy style, we could just change to say like ESL teacher or something like ESL teacher with pride. That could be a really easy switch to make, but let's keep looking here. And once you find a good niche, you can make 10, 20, 30 different designs using all these different templates here and then upload those to a place like Etsy. All right, some really cute ones. But after looking for a second, I really like the style of this one right here. All right, this design is super cute. And I think that we can make just a really, really quick design by just changing this to say ESL teacher. So I'm just going to go ahead and ungroup these letters here. And then I'm going to delete everything except about 3 letters. And then I'm just going to change this to say ESL. And then I'm just going to play around with kind of the spacing here. So I think I want these to be a little bit bigger. And then this teacher, I definitely want it to be in the front. All right, so this is looking cute. And sometimes you just have to play around with the spacing here until you're really happy with it. But this is already looking really, really good. And this apple here, I think I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. And then some of these pencils, I might move one down here and then keep one up here. And that is looking super, super cute. And one important thing for t-shirt designs is I typically like to have them take up as much of the canvas as possible and be really close to the top of the canvas. Shirts designs typically look the best if they are more centered up here instead of kind of lower on the shirt. So that's what we're going to do. And then once we're happy with this design, we're just going to go ahead and export it. Now for your shirt designs, I always like to make sure that they are at least 4,500 pixels wide. So we are going to change this to 4,500 and then we are going to download it as a PNG, making sure the background is removed. That's super, super important. So we're just going to go ahead and click export here and it's going to save to our computer. All right, now once we have done that, it's time to actually get this on the items that we are going to be selling on Etsy. Now, one of the most daunting parts of the print on demand process for a lot of people and something that kept me from actually wanting to sell on Etsy for quite a long time was finding a manufacturing partner. So in print on demand, you are not the one who has the printer in your basement and who is making all of these t-shirts. You are connecting with someone else who is doing all of the printing, packing, the shipping, storing these items, and kind of everything in between. You're really just making the design and then uploading the listing, and your manufacturing partner is doing the rest. So the manufacturing partner that I use, they're totally free to get started with. It's called Printify, and they have over 800 different white label products. So everything from t-shirts, they have sweatshirts, tote bags, hats, mugs, tumblers, pretty much anything that you would sell on a place like Etsy, you're going to find on Printify. Now, today we're going to be selling one of their t-shirts, and I'm going to show you which one I like the best and how easy it is to actually upload your designs to a t-shirt that's going to go on your Etsy store. Now, there are quite a few different options, but one you might be familiar with is the brand Gildan. They have kind of just a basic tee. There's also Comfort Colors, another great brand, but kind of the one that I like that is kind of the sweet spot between quality but not being too expensive is the Bella & Canvas 3001. And you can see here that they're going to start around $10 and even less if you have Printify Premium, which is basically just a subscription you can get to Printify that's going to make every single item you buy a little bit cheaper. And now what happens in print on demand is when someone makes a sale, you are automatically going to be charged for the wholesale cost of the item. So for when someone buys this ESL teacher shirt we make, we're going to be charged this around $10 fee for them to make the item for us. Then Printify is going to actually mail that to the customer, and then we're going to get paid the actual amount that we are charging for the item. So for example, a t-shirt like the one we're making today, we might charge anywhere from like $20 to $25 for that. So that means we are going to make the difference in that profit. So we're going to subtract our costs, which is the cost of this item here, and any additional fees from Etsy, and then we're going to walk away with a chunk of profit from that sale. So let's just click on this here, and I'm going to show you how to actually upload your items to Etsy. So we are just going to go where it says start designing, and it takes us to this great blank canvas here. Now, to sell on Etsy, you are going to have an Etsy account already created. It's really, really simple to do. And once you create your Etsy account, you're going to integrate that with Printify, which is also a very, very simple process, just as easy pretty much as logging into your Etsy account and clicking a few buttons. But I will have a video in the description down below that shows you exactly how to integrate this step by step. Again, it's a really, really easy process, but to be able to actually put your item on Printify and for that to get sent over to Etsy, they're going to have to be able to talk to each other, and that just means you need to integrate your two accounts. So once you have those accounts integrated, anytime you make a new listing on Printify, it's going to automatically go over to your Etsy shop without you doing anything extra, which is super, super cool. So right now we just have this blank t-shirt, and we can go over here to select the different color variants. Now, I really liked that the design we made was kind of optimized for more of like a tan or sand colored shirt. So I think that might be what I would like to put this on. So either like this natural color or this tan would look really good. But I think that natural is going to look the best in my opinion right now. And you can do multiple different colors. I definitely don't like to go crazy. Try to limit yourself to less than 4 different options because that just makes it way easier for customers to make a decision. But today I'm just going to show you one color variant. Then we're going to go over here to the left-hand side where it says upload, and we are going to upload from our device. So on my device, I just selected that artwork we just downloaded from Kittl. Now, any of these tools that I've showed so far, you can go ahead and make accounts for them in the description below. If I have any discounts or there are any free accounts available, I will also include that. And most of these places have free trials too, so if you just want to try your hand at it, you can definitely do that as well. But once we have our design here, like I said, I like to make sure the artwork is all the way at the top. That looks really good. And then we're going to go ahead and preview this and see what it would look like as a real printed item. So that is super cute right here. We can also kind of see what it would look like on a real person. And that looks really good in terms of the placement. So I'm going to go ahead and click down here, save product. Now, one thing Printify does have is they have quite a few pre-made mockups that you are free to use. Now, the caveat with this is one, tons of other people use Printify as their manufacturing partner, so they're going to have the exact same mockups as you, and two, they are really just not super engaging. They don't really look like a real person is kind of wearing this item out and about in their life, so it's not going to do a lot to help us get sales. Typically, your thumbnail, especially on Etsy, is the most important thing to sell your items right after how your design looks. So we want to do everything in our power to make sure we actually have really, really good mockups. So for right now, I am only going to have kind of this basic t-shirt mockup from Printify, but I'm not going to add any of their lifestyle or human mockups. I'm going to show you how to actually make these even better on another place. So I'm going to go ahead and save this selection, and then Printify is going to even prompt us to actually make better mockups somewhere else. So it says, looking for more amazing mockups, check out Placeit. Now, Placeit is who I use to make all of my mockups, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a mockup with them. One thing that I was really nervous about when I first started print on demand was I didn't really know super well how to use like Photoshop or Illustrator to warp my designs to actually look like a real person is wearing them, that it wasn't just kind of a flat picture stuck on top of another picture. So Placeit, they are going to do all of that for you. All you do is upload the design and it automatically makes it look like a real person is actually wearing this. So let's go over to Placeit. And like some of these other tools, Placeit is a subscription that you pay one fee a month, and then you're going to have access to their entire catalog of designs, of mockups, and just a bunch of tools you can use in your print-on-demand business. Now, what I'm going to look for is a really, really good lifestyle mockup of a real person. So there's kind of two different mockups you can go with for print-on-demand. One is like a garment only, where it's just going to be like a flat picture with just a t-shirt laying on there. But you could also have one where a real person is wearing it. And in my experience, real people wearing the items get more sales. So that's what we're going to be looking for. So let's just look for a good mock-up of a woman wearing this ESL shirt. And then we're going to crop it so you can't even see their face. So don't worry about what they look like or if the orientation is a little bit funky, because we are going to crop all of that out. All right, so after looking for a second, I actually really like this girl right here. I think that she has kind of some fun movement, and this could be a great one for the ESL teacher. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on her, and we're going to start editing. So right here it says design. We're just going to click on that, and we are going to upload that same design that we downloaded from Kittl. All right, so it's going to open this up and give us a preview of what this would look like. So we are just going to again move this closer to the top until it really looks like the spacing that we did on Printify. All right, that is looking pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and crop that. And then we want to change the shirt color to be closer to that kind of tan that we did. Now that looks really, really good. So we are going to click download, and then we're going to crop this to be the perfect size for an Etsy listing. So I'm going to click download here. Then once it is done processing, we are going to click this icon here to crop it to be the right size. So for Etsy, the size that I like to do is 2700 pixels by 2025 pixels. Now we have a lot of space here, so I am just going to zoom in until this takes up most of the canvas, and we can kind of move her to make sure it cuts off her face, but still shows a lot of that background there. That's kind of what we want, is this type of lifestyle photo. Then we're going to go ahead and download this. All right, now that we have our mockup, we are back over to Printify, but we're going to actually save that mockup photo to upload when we get over to our Etsy account. Now, the next part of this process is creating the title, description, and tags, which is arguably one of the most important parts behind that mockup, because this is how people are going to find us. So if someone looks up gift for ESL teacher or ESL teacher shirt, best gift for language teacher, we want to have our item actually show up. Now, you can write this all from scratch, and that is sometimes what I do, but Printify also has some really, really cool AI title and description writing features that if you're super new to this, I would highly suggest taking advantage of. So we're going to actually use that today, and all we have to do is kind of describe our design and what keywords we want to target. So I'm going to say something like, so I just put here cute ESL teacher shirt, groovy retro, because that's kind of the style it's in, best gift for ESL teacher, English language learners, bilingual teacher, multicultural teacher, gift, ELL teacher. So once we have kind of all those keywords in, we're going to have it generate our title and description, right? And we're just going to apply this to the listing. So it said ESL teacher, retro tee, bilingual, multicultural, gift, unisex jersey t-shirt, English learner shirt, groovy ELL teacher, cute ESL tee. So this is a good start, but I might even make a few changes. So I'm going to say ESL teacher shirt, bilingual teacher, multicultural gift, unisex t-shirt, English learner shirt, groovy ELL teacher, cute ESL tee. And then I'm going to say like for teacher gift. I think it's really important to have that word gift in there. We got the words ESL teacher. That seems really good. And then it made a description for us, a groovy retro t-shirt designed for ESL teachers featuring a cute and unique design. And I might even put at the beginning something like the best gift for ESL teachers. Just in case someone looked up like gift for ESL teachers, we want ours to be showing up first. Now, the next thing it did is it added some tags, which we can change and tweak, but for right now, I'm just going to add those for the sake of this video. Now, it's going to go ahead and create a shipping profile for us, so we don't have to worry about that at all. But what we do need to make some changes on are the pricing here. So it's going to show us the profit that we are going to be able to make on our items, but what this doesn't account for is all the additional fees from Etsy. So a lot of times this profit margin is going to be quite a bit lower. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these except some of these larger sizes here, and I am going to edit the price to be $24.99 and apply that. And then I am going to select these larger sizes here, and I am going to make those $26.99. All right, and that is going to help us get closer to that like $5 to $7 or $8 profit mark when we make a sale. So once that looks good, we are going to just go ahead and publish this, and it's going to go over to our Etsy shop. Now, the status has changed to publishing, and sometimes this can take a few minutes to actually sync. So we're just going to give it some time and then come back when it has switched to green published mode. All right, and after just a second, it changed to green published. So that means if we go over to our integrated Etsy account, which again, you can figure out how to do that by just watching the tutorial down below in the description, but it's going to show up in our Etsy account. So I'm over to my listings on my Etsy shop, and I can see that this listing right here is live. Now, this still doesn't look super good. We don't have that new mockup yet. So we are going to make a couple less changes, and this is going to be ready to go. So I'm just going to click this gear icon here and push edit. Now, it carried over all of those changes we had made in Printify, including our title, our description, our tags, the pricing. But one thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add that new thumbnail photo. Now, Etsy is going to allow you to add up to 10 different mockups, but what I have found is typically you get the most bang for your buck if you're going to edit that very first photo people see. So I spend the majority of my time on this primary photo, and a lot of times I'm just going to leave these other ones to be just a picture of the garment, of all the maybe colors I offer, maybe the back view if there's something else interesting on it. But you're really going to make the most impact if you focus on this first photo. And again, if you use some better photos from a place like Placeit, that is even better. I'll link their information down below too. So that thumbnail is looking really good. The description is filled out here, and all our pricing information carried over and is set. We don't want to mess with any of this because it has all these SKU numbers, so that when someone orders something on Etsy, Printify knows exactly what item to make and ship to them. And then a couple last things that I am going to change is you want to make sure that you set up your return policy. So typically I am going to offer no returns and exchanges. Of course, if there's ever something wrong with the item, I would help the customer figure that out. But for print on demand, since every single time you get an order, you are making a one-of-a-kind item, I typically don't just generically offer returns on everything. And then we want to change what shop section this is going to show up in. So this is just if you have a lot of items in your Etsy shop, you're going to start making different categories so people can more easily browse your items. Now, what people don't realize is that this isn't just a way to organize, but your shop section actually acts as an extra element of SEO that kind of tells Etsy a little bit about where this item belongs, what type of people this is for. So I'm going to probably make a new section. I could either do it in like a teacher shirt section, but I could also make it as specific as like ESL teacher gift. So I can save that here. And then we want to decide if we want to enroll this in Etsy ads. So this is something to think about later on down the road. But if you're just getting started, you might want to not have this in Etsy ads right away. And then the last thing is your renewal option. So when you make a listing on Etsy, it is going to charge you 20 cents initially. And then after several months, it is going to either automatically renew your listing for that 20 cents, or it's going to let you decide if you want to manually renew that and get some additional months for this item. Now, what I found is that if in a few months your item hasn't made a sale, a lot of times I want to not just automatically renew that. I want to see maybe what's wrong with this item, what changes I could make before I actually renew it. So I like to keep this on manual renewal. I find that works really well for me, but you can decide to either automatically do it or manually do it. Now, once everything is filled out, we're just going to go ahead and publish those changes. Now our listing has been updated here, and we can see what this is going to look like for our customers. So I'm going to click this gear icon and click view on Etsy. And this takes us to the actual Etsy listing, what people are going to see when they browse for ESL teacher shirts. So we can see our great mockup here, as well as just like the regular picture of the garment. We can select our size and then see the description about this item here. And if we use Printify, it's also going to give all the like product features and care instructions, which is super nice. And then just to fill up your shop, you are basically going to rinse and repeat this process where you're going to find a great niche, make a design, upload it to Printify, get your mockup, and get it on your Etsy shop. Now, the process will get a lot quicker as you do more of these, but if you've been thinking of starting an online business this year, print on demand is still a really great option. And selling on a place like Etsy, there is way more potential to make profit because typically it is a little bit more work. It's a higher barrier of entry. So that means there's not as much competition as if you were selling on a place like maybe TeePublic or Redbubble. Now, if you're still feeling really overwhelmed with the whole process of researching and finding a good niche, I actually have about a full hour-long workshop for you guys that is totally free to take. It's kind of a mini course on how to pin pinpoint really, really good niches and stay away from ones that are way too saturated that you're just going to waste time on. So I will link all the information to sign up down below in the description, and I will just email you with how to watch that free workshop. And along with that, you're going to get quite a few different guides from me. The best one definitely being my cross niching guidebook, which is kind of just an ebook that has about 40,000 different niche ideas for you to take and run with in your print on demand business. So many people love it and have had really, really good results with it. And it was just kind of a free gift for you guys. So you can get both of those down below in the description. And if you're just starting out and you're still really confused about how to integrate your Printify account with an Etsy shop, or how to just start in general with making either of those accounts, I want you to watch this video next, which just takes you through the process of both creating those accounts and getting them integrated. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.